Everybody, and welcome to the series, Mind Hacks to Actually Reach Your Goals. This series was designed to be about 8 to 10 minutes a day over the period of time, a few weeks, to literally go through what are the practical steps that we need to take our lives from where we are to where we got to be. Thanks for joining us, and let's get started. Okay, everybody, welcome back. Episode 12. Last time we spoke about rewards in a much more sort of like of a gratification sensory way, or even intellectual way, but something that's going to give you sort of some immediate gratification of doing reward. I'm going to give you a different type of reward that's also super important. There's two types of inspiration that we have. There's external inspiration and internal inspiration. And what's the difference? So external inspiration is when someone inspires you, right? Like, you hear a song or you hear a speech or you hear a line or someone tells you something, you're like, I got to do it, right? This is why we're here, right? We're here because that's how habits form. That's how resolutions form. You go somewhere, you see something, it's great. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to take the external inspiration and make it real. That's the whole series so far, right? I got inspired to change my life. Oh my God, it's not working in the world of resolutions. So now we're building a whole world of habits in order to get us to take external things and make them internal. However, there's something called internal inspiration. What's internal inspiration? Internal inspiration is when you internally feel motivated. Nothing happened. You're motivated. Right? Now, some people have this more naturally, but it happens in very specific ways. In my opinion, where does it happen most? It happens most in the moment in which you're making progress. Progress is inspiring, right? Driving, movement is inspiring, right? You ever drive a car? If you have open road, it's awesome. The minute you slow down to traffic, if you have a choice between going 1 mile in bumper to bumper traffic or 10 miles in open road, you go 10 miles in open road. Just feeling the feeling of movement feels good, right? Movement feels good. Internally, when you are making progress towards real goals, it feels good. And what that does is it's like it's like a machine, it's like a flywheel. It makes you want to have more goals and do more things. So last time we spoke about structuring rewards. Here's another reward we're structuring. It's a reward called accountability, right? Remember, when we speak about things that we want in life, which is what's driving us through the habits in the first place, one of our basic core needs is social acceptance, which is why if we feel that we're not being socially accepted, what triggers is our amygdala, which is the back of our brains, which is our fight or flight mechanism. Right? These are mechanisms that we have in place to take care of physical dangers, and yet they trigger when it comes to social dangers. What's the biggest example? Public speaking, right? Public speaking makes us nervous. It causes our body to do things, our eyes to dilate, our extremities to be more sensitive, the juices in our stomach. Why? Why does it trigger all this fight and flight stuff? It's people. They're not going to kill us. They're not holding spears. The answer is because social acceptance is a basic need. And if I'm speaking, that's a real quick feedback loop to whether I'm accepted. They like it or they don't immediately. You can't hide. And so I'm worried and the amygdala triggers. Social acceptance is a reward. Feeling like you are accepted socially, somebody approves of you, is a reward. Separately, feeling like you're moving is a reward. These are two separate things that I want to identify. Number one is, hey, this is working. I'm moving. And B, hey, someone else is saying, good job. See these two things? Number one, movement. I did it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm seeing success. And 2, separately, but very much related, and you'll see how, someone saying you're doing amazing. Okay? 2 things. You put them together, what you find in the middle is accountability. Accountability is the ability to know what you're doing, measuring your progress. Right? Jerry Seinfeld is famous for saying that the reason why he was as successful as he was as a comedian was because he told himself he's never going to miss a day to write jokes. So he put a huge calendar on his wall, and every day he made an X on the day, and his only goal was never to break the chain. Well, that means every single day, what he looked forward to, the reward of his behavior, was just seeing progress. X. That second, X, wasn't just a second. That's why he woke up in the morning on day 122. Progress, right? When you create some way to measure your routines, check, did it. Weigh in. I did 7 today. You wanted to do a certain amount of studying. How much? 7 of the thing. Okay, you wrote 7, 5, anything between 5 and 8. Right? You write them down. You check every time you do something. You create a schedule, and every day you make a check. You create a spreadsheet, and every day you put the measurements in. When you have specific things that you are measuring, then the measure themselves are what create that reward. When you measure things, when you can count them, when they feel like they're moving, when you were at 7 and now you're at 9, when you've been doing 10 days straight, right? I know somebody who is trying to get more active in his religion. So it's something called tefillin. Tefillin are religious objects you put on every day. And this guy, God bless him, said to me, I'm going to start doing it. I said, wonderful. Every few days he texts me what days. He's like up to day 180. It's amazing. I'm so inspired. He's so inspired. But that feeling of putting them on and taking a picture and then writing the number, that in itself is a motivation. It's inspiring to him and to me. But it's a reward. It's not a piece of chocolate, right? It's not a smoothie. It's a measure. It's a clock. It's a ticker. If you want to structure your rewards, there's the immediate pleasure you get when you come out. It doesn't have to be major, but it's something. And B, there's the accountability triggering. That's a great trigger. Every day you're able to keep tally of your progress, and that tally becomes a reward into itself. But if you want to take it to the next level, is where you include somebody with you. When somebody else knows of your tally, when somebody else knows of your measurements, someone else knows of the weigh-in, someone else knows what you've done today, someone else when you have a buddy, whoever that is, where you say, listen, I'm doing this thing. I want to change my life. I want to make a difference in my life. Here's what I'm doing. Every day I'm going to do this routine. At 5 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 11 o'clock, at the end of the day, I'm just texting you that I did it. Or, well, let's do it together. Or come here when I do it. Whenever you can include another person in your measurements, even if that person isn't judging you and you brought them in, it's not like a teacher saying like you have to, right? It's a friend who's saying, all right, let me know. What you're doing is you're combining two very basic, amazing motivators, which is the feeling of motivation, which is the churn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, at anything. Think about sports. Right? I love sports, but think about it. It's a made-up game. It's made up. It didn't exist before someone came up with it, right? And all it is think of it like a basket. I love basketball. Think about the game. It's made up. It's 2 guys shooting in a hoop. Some dude made it up. It's not a big deal, but it's a big deal. Why? Because they put a clock on. If there would be no one counting, the game would be gone. And then they started counting upon counting, right? There's the counting of the game, and there's the counting of the stats, and there's the counting of the scores, and there's this counting of the standings. And it's counting upon counting upon counting upon. It's a whole world of social accountability, and everyone goes crazy for it. And then they find new ways to count. You know, before in the first quarter, who has the most points? This is the most assists on one foot, and everyone's trying to get more assists on one foot. Why? Well, who cares? Because someone's counting it. When someone counts it, it becomes important. And I want to do it. I want to win in it. Right? I remember one time I told you this story. Right? I looked something up for on Khan Academy. He had some way to explain some kind of financial something. I looked it up. It gave me like a little star. You're a super learner. I'm like, that's cute. And then the other day I looked something else up and said, wow, 2 stars. You're a great learner. And then another day I had to look third thing up, and we went to the platform, and I became like a champion. I'm like, that's great. By the end of the day, I took 7 classes because I'm like, I want to be super champion. I only have 8 classes to go. I'm like, what am I doing? I don't care. You care. You check your Delta app to see how you're doing on miles, right? They give you a little punch card for the frozen yogurt. You find yourself going back to get another frozen yogurt because I want to get the punch card. Someone's counting progress. So when you're structuring your rewards, 1, immediate pleasure, small, real, make it immediate. Number 2, accountability. Find a way to measure it. And if you can, put somebody else with you so that you get the measurement, internal inspiration, and the social acceptance. Thank you, everybody, for joining us in the series. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it helped. I hope it really made a difference in your life. And for those that tagged us on social media and shared it, for those that left a podcast review, for those that shared it with your friends, or shared it on your status, we appreciate it. It means a lot to us that you felt comfortable enough to share this with others, of people that you care about. If you missed a day, make sure to check out the show notes for the link to the entire series. You can join us on the Unlocking Greatness Insider community by going to charlieharari.com/insiders. And we look forward to hearing your feedback on Instagram and on Twitter and YouTube and WhatsApp and everything else. But really, really appreciate your time and attention, and look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks again.